Hi everybody, this is my module 1 for EDL 880 and my name is Megan Dusky. So a little bit about me is I'm 28 years old and my husband and I live in North Central Kansas where we farm and ranch. We raise cattle, hogs, and goats. I currently teach second grade at Rock Hills Elementary School and I graduated from K-State in 2016 with my bachelor's degree in elementary education. And this is my last semester of classes, and then in the fall I'll be taking my practicum. So about my hobbies, so I like to be outside on the farm with my husband, and I really enjoy reading, baking, and taking our dog Dixie, who's right here, for a walk. I also like to listen to true crime podcasts and audiobooks, and then I have a cat. Not my husband, because he can't stand her, and her name is Java, and she's super annoying. So about my work, this is my 7th year of teaching. My very first year, I moved out west and I was the reading and math MTSS coordinator for pre-K through 4th grade at a small district called Northern Valley. But for the last 6 years, I've been teaching second grade. Here in Mankato, I am part of the building leadership team. I'm part of the negotiations team. I'm currently taking the letters training. I have a student teacher in my classroom this semester. I am on a curriculum committee. We're in search of a phonics supplemental program. I also work at our grain elevator here in town called CVA, and I help during the fall harvest and the summer harvest. Our school is currently adjusting to a full-time principal at Rock Hills Elementary. I'm sure you've probably heard about our school a lot here in the news the last 8 days. So if you are a person of faith, I would just invite you to pray for our school district, as we lost one of our kiddos in a school accident, and that has truly been very difficult to navigate over these last 8 days. So if you can send us some kind words for him and his family, that would just be great. So let's transition into what I'm going to be talking about the rest of my presentation. I'm going to go over the critical analysis of the resources I've read, my reflection about how USD 107 meets or doesn't meet those needs, and then the concluding statements that I have. So very first, let's start out with the positive school culture. So in order to have a positive school culture, it's going to look like students feeling welcome, they're engaged in their learning, they feel safe, supportive, and they have strong social emotional skills. When you have a positive school culture, you might see a decrease in things like chronic absenteeism because kids are going to want to be there because they're safe. It's going to improve the educational equity. You're going to see reduced bullying because they're going to have those strong social and emotional skills, which have to be taught. They're not getting it at home. We can see an increase in academic performance because they're there in our building even more. And we know that students, if they're worried about other things, if their basic needs aren't met, they're not going to have a high academic performance. But if we create that positive school culture and we work on meeting all of their needs, we can see an increase in their academics. A positive school culture is where students are viewed as the purpose, not the problem. So they're the why behind why we do everything. How can we get a positive school culture? We can have a quality social and emotional learning guide that encourages strong relationships and healthy communication between all working parts of the staff. In order to have that healthy communication and that quality social emotional learning and those strong relationships, you have to have professional development opportunities that teach how to do that between staff, between kids, between administration and teachers. Those things have to be taught because some of those things don't come natural and some of us weren't taught those things. It also looks like conducting surveys throughout the year to make sure that your parents are involved and they're aware of what's going on and that they like the direction the school is going and they agree with it. We also need to be a district that welcomes parents into the building and that we address students' social and emotional needs. School leaders are also so important here because they're modeling that positive change. They model what it should look like, what it should sound like, and they are truly the leaders that are forming this. A lot of positive school culture, it will consist of norms, traditions, and common beliefs that are shared by all. When we talk about having an inclusive and supportive school culture, that means that we're going to match our classroom instruction to cultural norms in our area. So that way kids aren't having to have, 2 different sets of expectations. They know, this is what is normal around me and my classroom's going to be the same. It's going to look like increasing social interaction to enhance student social skills, adjusting your wait time for students who might need that longer time to think because their processing time is different because they're trying to translate from what you're saying to what you're meaning and how that affects them. We need to be sensitive to the cultural shifts between home and school. So knowing that after long breaks or long weekends, things like that, it might take kids a little bit of time to get into the routine of school. We can also help parents gain cultural capital so that way they feel at ease coming into our building and having conversations with us about their student. And it also looks like us using culturally responsive and respectful approaches in our character education time, in our social skill instruction, and within discipline. When we talk about equitable school culture, we need to make sure that students, families, friends, neighborhoods, businesses, and other stakeholders are contributing to that inclusive culture and the well-being. We want to make sure that everybody is welcome and everybody is treated with respect. We also want to make sure that our staff has time to collaborate with each other, not just, team teachers, but vertically we want to make sure that that collaboration is happening too. Students need to be equally valued, and we need to create a strong partnership between parents and staff. If we have this equitable school culture, it's going to build up the culture of our school, and we can do this by ritualizing meeting spaces or having set norms and practices and things that we do to kind of set the tone for every meeting that we have. We can prioritize having a shared vision of what we want from students, what we want from staff, and what we want from our school. We can establish those norms and create that routine, because that's going to create brave spaces, and students who feel brave and safe are going to do great things, and the same thing with staff and teachers. We can also work to hire and retain a diverse staff, not just hiring everybody that's just like us, but we want to make sure that kids can see others who might be like them being successful and well sought after. A responsive school culture. So culturally responsive leaders need to be there to lead staff. If you have a leader there who doesn't believe in a responsive school culture or doesn't know what that is or how to get it, then they're not going to be able to lead their staff down that path. We need to focus on finding candidates and curriculum that support diverse learners, so that way kids, again, can see them there. We want our school leaders to model expectations. We want to be able to reinforce those expectations through professional development. We want to also make sure that we're providing instruction through a lens that promotes diversity and cultural respect. And one of the biggest things now that I see for a push in schools is teaching students kindness and empathy through a social and emotional learning program. And that's something that we have adopted this year at Rock Hills. So students learn best when they feel safe and they have reduced negative emotions. And we kind of talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If their needs aren't met, they're not going to be able to do those higher order thinking skills. So we have to make sure that when they're at school, they feel safe and that they have those reduced negative emotions so that they can learn. All right, now, how does the culture at my school compare or contrast to what I've learned from the research? So when we talk about a positive school culture, the things that we are doing very well is we have created and carved out that time for social and emotional learning. In my classroom, we do a circle every Wednesday. We have also brought forth and kind of mixed in some PBIS throughout our school. It's not going great, but we need a little bit more professional development and a little bit more time to get everybody on board to see PBIS be truly successful. We have started to create some norms that we can expect during staff meetings. We are getting better about inviting families into our buildings. COVID put a damper on that, and then it's trying to build back up to parents knowing, hey, you're welcome in our building and we want you here. And then we are working to increase collaboration time between teachers. Now, we're doing a pretty good job of making sure that team teachers have time for collaboration, but not really getting that vertical collaboration. So that is something that we really need to improve upon. Another thing that we need to make a better connection with is our missing link right now is the connection between staff and families when it comes to our social and emotional curriculum. And I think that just might be because it's so new for us and we really didn't receive training. It was, here's this website, here's your login, teach it. So that's something that we need to definitely do better in order to make sure that that positive school culture goes beyond just our building. Inclusive, supportive school culture. We have done this by increasing our social skill practice during academics. We use a lot of Kagan, and I think that that's a great job not only for engagement, but teaching kids how to, this is your turn to talk, this is your turn to wait, and this is the different expectations for the different models of Kagan. So that's something that I've truly enjoyed in my classroom. Classroom instruction matches the social norms. Our social and emotional program is offered pre-K through 5th grade, and that's just what our building is right now. The other building is 6th through 12th, but in our building, we have adopted this social and emotional program second step. And I do feel like it's helping to decrease the negative feelings at schools, especially with that circle time. Kids are getting a chance to talk about things that are bothering them, or they know if I don't want to share it in front of all my friends, I can go talk to Mrs. Dusky later. We just need to do a better job of communicating that program to parents and letting them know this is what the kids are hearing at school. Maybe you can use some of that same language at home, or if your kid comes home talking about empathy, this is what we're teaching them right now. Equitable school culture. This is something that we we're not great at it. We're not great at it yet, but I think that we will be. We've had a lot of transitions over the last 4 years at Rock Hills, but one of the things that I'm really seeing that we're going above and beyond is we have created a site council where we're inviting parents. Right now we're prioritizing creating our shared vision, and we want all stakeholders to have a say in what they believe is important at school. We've really been advocating for family involvement, and we're using the school data to set our goals of what we want to see happen over the next 3 to 5 years. Our responsive school culture. So we do work really hard to provide instruction through a lens that promotes diversity and culture of respect. We are teaching kids kindness through SEL, and I feel like we do a great job of making sure that kids are exposed to a wide range of things. How does the culture at my school compare contrast to what I've learned from the research? So really, the areas I feel like we're working on are truly making a positive impact and improvement on our school culture, and it's also an area that's also not our strong suit. We're trying really, really hard, but it's not what we're the best at yet. But with all this change that we're in right now, I think that we're finally on the right track, and I know that good change doesn't happen fast. But after reading through the resources and things like that, it's not surprising the areas that we need to improve on. But again, I know it's just going to take some time. I'm going to pause right here and then start for my next video.